Hello, everyone. I'm hoping that the internet is decent enough because we are also struggling a little bit with making sure that we have enough Wi-Fi that my computer doesn't just die on us. But we're gonna work on it. We're gonna try. We're gonna make sure that it works.
It's gonna be fine, guys.
It's gonna be great. But hello, everyone, and welcome to today's podcast episode of Coven of the Arcane. My name is Tara.
And I'm Brooke.
And this is
what episode is this?
This is number 3. This is the third episode we've done. Peeves, hello. Oh my god, I love your pickle. Hello. But welcome in. This is episode number 3, and this is officially our third week of celebrating Pride. It's our second to last episode officially for Pride Month. Pride doesn't just end just in this month, but it is officially our second to last episode, you guys, of Pride Month. I hope everyone's Pride, even though we've been going through some hard times lately, I hope that everyone's Pride has been going well and that there has been times to celebrate and enjoy this month, as well as times that hopefully we have felt like we have gotten to be a support system if we are an ally, gotten to enjoy our space and our time and everything, but also just to get to be able to educate and share with those that we know or those who are willing to listen, because we can never force anyone to believe or listen to what we have to say. Some people are going to believe and think the ways that they do, and that's all we can do is just try. So yeah, it's a good month of at least trying to share and educate and support and hopefully celebrate as well too. So I'm excited, but I'm also sad. It's our second to last week for Pride
Why are you
celebration.
sad?
Because Pride is almost done, and I think that it's been a good start.
It's okay, guys. Just because Pride Month is ending does not mean the podcast is going anywhere.
Nope.
We have so many amazing topics.
Y'all are stuck with us.
So
we're here.
We're excited.
We are here. We're not going anywhere. We have been enjoying doing this way too much, so yeah.
We like to yap, guys.
We do. Hi, Peeves. How's it going? And yeah, your messages always get auto-modded, so we see you. It's all good. But thanks for being in here and thanks for hanging out. Just gonna say this right off the bat. If my voice sounds scratchy and does not sound as smooth and lovely as it usually does, it's because I have a sore throat and I am trying to feel better because I have a bunch of things that I'm doing this weekend with my horse and trying to feel better. So if my energy is not the best and my voice doesn't sound the best, that is why, and we're just going to accept it. We're just gonna accept.
We're gonna power through, guys. And if you feel the need to yell at her and tell her to go get a drink or something, do it.
Sure,
it's fine.
I guess that's fine too. Peeves, I can't even. Okay, rude.
Peeves is coming in here hot.
Peeves is every single goddamn live that I do. Every time.
I still don't know if me and Peeves are even friends. We have a very complicated relationship, so I don't know.
I feel like most of Peeves' relationships are complicated, to be perfectly honest.
That's valid.
If we're being totally honest. Completely honest.
But oh, goodness.
It's fine. But today, you guys, we're talking about the topic of, just in general, the title of this podcast episode is LGBTQ rights are human rights. And a lot of people say that we're doing better, and there are definitely very clear signs that we are seeing progression within our community with the support of our community, but unfortunately we are seeing steps backward and
some very, very negative impacts.
Yeah, the steps
and
backward,
all during Pride Month as well.
It's seriously, especially during Pride, it's been heavy. And I don't know, in my opinion, I feel like we should be progressing more, but
I totally agree.
We're not yet, and it's fine. Everything is going to be fine.
It's fine, guys. It's all good.
It's fine. So what we're going to do first is we're going to just kind of talk about the history of like what laws have been created, what changes have been made, and then we're going to talk about what's happening in present day, because unfortunately a lot of laws that were put in place, as well as bills that were put in place per different states, we're set to be able to support, and they're now taking steps back in some states. Some states have been very slow, like Brooke's state has been having some aggression, but there have been some things that haven't been as quick moving as, like, let's say in California, for instance. So there's definitely things that have been happening, and we're going to share with what we know at the moment. Each state probably has different things going on. Unfortunately, I did not have the time to go through.
Guys, we're not going to be going through every single
state's
law.
Bills. It's not happening.
There are certain things that we've picked out.
Yep.
That we feel need to be talked about.
Yeah.
So,
and we will have
my little history nerd over here. The lovely Tara is gonna usually handle the history part of things because she does the deep dives.
I try to.
It's like she's a history person. I try, but I get distracted, guys. So
that happens. It's all good. I do the same thing. But and then Peeves, I know that you say they have a hot take. Please be appropriate about it. Please be respectful. But we will have Q&A, giving hot takes, conversation, open to chat, after we go over the history and over some points that we have made note of. And then also too, just a heads up, you guys, we do have my lovely mother who is in the background. She and I are staying in the same space while we're here in California visiting my horse. So if you hear talking in the background, if you hear stuff going on in the background, just know there is someone that isn't here. And yeah, we'll have her in the background and she's going to be just moving around. So if you hear someone, that's why.
Really fine.
Yeah. But, and then Peas, I do see your statement. We'll definitely open to talk about that and kind of converse about that at the very end. You guys will see this little icon, and this icon is full-on conversation within our chat. We also have our Discord call that's going, our Discord podcast channel that's going. So for those who feel more comfortable being in mic, during that time, we are open to bringing some people in to the chat. Again, you have to follow the guidelines and the rules that we have in both of our Discord and in our Twitch account. They are posted on all of those spaces. So please do a read through. If you have not done a read through yet, those are in place to just be respectful and be careful of those who are in this group. But we will definitely have a conversation for those who want to converse and chit chat at the end. So, is there anything else that I'm missing, Boo?
I think that pretty much covers majority. I am glad that we're going to be able to do our little Q&A bits and things, since we've been working really hard to get that set up.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll see how that goes at the end.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right. Well, let's quickly go over
a history lesson.
History time. You're welcome. All right, let's go for it. So, where it first officially kind of started being labeled as progressive movements and creation of quote unquote gay rights movements. A lot of them really started in the early 1920s with immigrants coming in, specifically a German immigrant founded in Chicago, the Society of Human Rights. That was the first documented gay rights organization in the United States. During his U.S. Army service, Henry Gerber is his name. He was in his service in World War I. Gerber was inspired to create his organization by and this is a title for it, the Scientific Humanitarian Committee, a quote-unquote homosexual emancipation group in Germany. And we all know what was going on to our communities as well as many other minority groups in Germany during World War I. So this was a very influential as well as like big movement and big task at that time. Gerber's small group published a few issues of the newsletter Friendship and Freedom, the country's first gay interest newsletter. Police raids caused the group to disband in 1925, but 90 years later, you guys, it took 90 years, the U.S. government designated Gerber's Chicago house a National Historic Landmark. So finally, 90 years later, got some recognition that he was deserved, especially during such a very hard and very horrific period in our history and in the world's history. So that happened. 1950, Harry Hay founded the Mattachine Foundation. It was one of the nation's first gay rights groups. The Los Angeles organization, go LA, organization
Let's
coined,
go.
right? Let's go California. Coined the term homophile, quote unquote, which was considered less clinical and focused on sexual activity than homosexual. I don't know how I feel about that, kind of in concerns of the time of the term phile that we use in present day conversation, but it was a aspect of trying to separate the idea of gender and sexuality away from the very scientific, which we still deal with today, the very scientific structure of like two genders, two sexes, two bases of and restrictions and boundaries when it came to people's identity. So there was the conversation in the start to try to push that mindset away from, the in general gender binary that we still have to fight with today, but it was something going on at that time that they were trying to separate from. Though it started off small, the foundation, which sought to improve the lives of gay men through discussion groups and related activities, expanded after founding member Dale Jennings was arrested in 1952 for solicitation and then later was set free due to a deadlocked jury. So we've had a long history of that conversation of people's sharing of their identities out in public. A lot of times the United States, as well as society as a whole, had and still does treats people sharing their identities out in the open, how they present, as a means of solicitation. Basically, it's not just something that we saw back then and we don't see now. Like, it's still happening now. If someone who is femme is dressed or looks or has a haircut or has a style that doesn't fit a quote unquote societal norm, we also throw a fit. So it's been happening for a while.
And it will continue to happen.
It will,
because
but
people are just,
especially when you start seeing controlling factors of media as well as popularity with outfits and clothing and designs and work and stuff, like our evolution of the beauty standards as well as what's popular and what's not, that already changes, but especially within the LGBT community, It happens a lot, so it's always changing. So yeah, so that was kind of the first kind of conversation within this group to fight against the solicitation and arresting and the prejudice that was going against communities at that time. Mattachine Foundation members restructured the organization to form the Mattachine Society, which had local chapters in other parts of the country, and in 1955 began publishing the country's second gay publication, the Mattachine Review. That same year, 4 lesbian couples in San Francisco, go Cali, founded an organization called the Daughters of Bilitis, I think, is how it's called. If I'm not pronouncing it correctly, don't judge me. And this soon began a publishing newsletter called The Ladder. And actually, I think we still have The Ladder to this day. The name sounds very familiar.
Sounds familiar for sure.
Right?
We'll have to look into that.
I think it's still going on. If not, it's still like regularly talked about. And it was the first lesbian publication of any kind. And that was 1955 that we were starting to see that, which is crazy. These early years of the movement also faced some notable setbacks. The American Psychiatric Association, which we have, they have been involved in literally any type of conversation when it comes to mental health, as well as anyone who has different different learning abilities and different like thinking and disabilities of any sort. They're usually tied to these big movements. So that happened. And it listed homosexuality as a form of mental disorder in 1952. So we had that happening. And the following year, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed an executive order that banned gay people, or more specifically, people guilty of quote-unquote sexual perversion. I fucking hate that. That's such a fucking stupid term. Sexual perversion from federal jobs. This ban would remain in effect for some 20 years later. So it wasn't until 1970s that this actually got removed. So people within the LGBT community couldn't be in federal jobs or placements in jobs until after the 70s. So just brings up the conversation again, you guys. This is not old news. We are still dealing with this very recently today. Super recent. Like it's absolutely crazy.
I did look up The Ladder, by the way. So it looks like it does not exist anymore.
Okay.
It ceased publication in 1972.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which really is not that long ago.
No. And that makes sense that it was brought up.
But, yeah. It says the magazine and the DOB eventually faced internal conflicts, particularly regarding the balance between aligning with the broader gay rights movement and adopting a more separatist feminist stance. So DOB disbanded in the 70s, and then the latter ceased publication in 1972. So it was all internal stuff.
Yeah.
Complications and...
Yep. And
that's valid.
Unfortunately, shit happens, but it also, I mean, we're still dealing with those as well to this day. Like, if you don't know the term TERFs are still a constant fight and battle kind of when it comes to feminism, as well as feminism involving LGBT individuals. And that's a constant battle with people who don't agree, which is why we use the term TERFs. And so we still deal with that today. So I'm curious if that's kind of where they were running into, was the fight against supporting feminism, but also making it open to members of the community to be able to share in that belief of feminism. So curious. So in 1960s, the movement saw some early progress. 1961, Illinois became the first state to do away with its anti-sodomy laws. Good job, Illinois. Effectively decriminalizing homosexuality, and a local TV station in California, let's go, aired the first documentary about homosexuality called The Rejected. In 1965, Dr. John Olivan, in his book Sexual Hygiene and Pathology, coined the term transgender, quote unquote, to describe someone who is born in the body of the incorrect sex. There's still, even today, the conversation between gender and sex being separate or being together. Some people believe that they are coexist. Some people believe that they are two separate entities. It's still a conversation that happens today, but this was in 1965. But more than 10 years earlier, transgender individuals entered the American consciousness when Christine Jorgensen came out as a trans woman following gender-conforming surgery. Despite this progress, LGBTQ individuals lived in this kind of urban subculture and routinely subjected to harassment and persecution, such as in bars and restaurants. And in fact, gay men and women in New York City could not be served alcohol in public due to liquor laws that considered the gathering of homosexuals to be quote-unquote automatically disorderly. So...
that Lord, okay.
The fact that, and hear me out, most of the time I go to bars and like gatherings that include alcohol in the LGBT community, or when there's parties that happen within that community, the parties are usually like really fun and relaxing and comfortable and just like a fun
right.
energy space. But then I've gone to
nice little get together.
I've been to plenty straight bars, or bars that are specifically set for most heterosexual couples and people, and that's usually where I find the most disorderly conduct that happens. But okay, sure, automatically LGBT group gets together.
It's always us. You gotta remember that. It's always us.
It's always us. We're the problem. Is it me? Am I the problem? I don't think I'm the problem.
Oh,
go back. There we go. In fear of being shut down by authorities, bartenders would deny drinks to patrons suspected, because of course you're not going to be able to tell someone like just by looking at them like you're gay. That's not usually how that happens. Shocking to some people. But basically bartenders would have to suspect if someone was gay or not and kick them out altogether. Others would serve them drinks but force them to sit facing away from other customers to prevent them from socializing. Yes, because
here's your drink. Go sit in the corner.
Go sit in the corner with your dunce cap, because just looking at someone who's a part of the community, absolutely not. That's no ability, no way that you can do that. Okay. Oh, it's fine.
It's fine, guys.
1966, members of the Mattachine Society in New York City staged I love this so much. I read about this and this is just so funny. They staged a quote-unquote sip-in, a twist on the sit-in protests of the 1960s, in which they would visit taverns, declare themselves as gay, and wait to be turned away so they could sue the companies. They were denied service at the Greenwich Village Tavern Julius, resulting in much publicity and the quick reversal of the anti-gay liquor laws, because people were literally going in claiming that they were gay after they got drinks and then would sue the companies.
I love that.
That is just, and it's so pertinent to
guys,
today.
Let's be real. We can be petty. All right. We really can't.
And when we're petty with money too, we're so petty with money. And the money is what talks, you guys. Like, we literally are going through a situation right now in politics where literally money is the reason that different changes are happening within what's going on today. And it's because of the fact when companies lose money, guess what? They have to make some decisions real fucking quick. But so that happened. They reversed that law. But if you guys were here in last week's episode with the Stonewall Inn and the Stonewall riots, there still was the New York City law that you couldn't be out and basically, in many terms, soliciting yourself out in public. So Stonewall Riot happened. If you want to know more information about the Stonewall Riot, our episode and our VOD is posted on our Twitch channel. But that occurred. This was kind of the start to that movement afterwards, the increased visibility and activism of the community. And it continued into the 1970s, helped the movement make progress in multiple fronts. In 1977, New York Supreme Court ruled that transgender woman Renee Richards could play at the United States Open tennis tournament as a woman. Again, a battle we are still fighting towards today, but the Supreme Court agreed. Goodness gracious, shocking. I don't usually see the Supreme Court actually ruling in members of the LGBT community's favor, but good for them in 1977. Additionally, several openly LGBTQ individuals secured public offices positions. Oh God, I'm going to not say this correctly. Kozachenko won the seat on to the Ann Arbor, Michigan City Council in 1974, becoming the first out American to be elected in public office. Everyone knows of Harvey Milk. If you don't, the name probably sounds familiar. Harvey Milk campaigned on a pro-gay rights platform, became the San Francisco City's supervisor in 1978, becoming the first openly gay man elected into public political office in California. Milk asked Gilbert Baker, an artist and gay rights activist, to create an emblem that represents the movement and would be seen as a symbol of pride. Baker designed and stitched together the first rainbow flag, which he unveiled at the Pride Parade in 1978. So, yay! That's where the first start of our flags came to be, was 1978. Yay,
flags, let's go!
Right? Following year in 1979, more than 100,000 people took part in the first national march on Washington for lesbian and gay rights. Let's go. Just in Washington, 100,000 people in 1979. That's crazy. I'm almost done, you guys. I promise. Bear with me. I promise.
I know it's a lot, guys, but the history about certain things is always important.
The history is important,
even if you may not think so.
Exactly. I will go through as quickly as I can. All right. So from 1979, we then deal with. This was something that definitely impacted and kind of set us back. It was the outbreak of AIDS in the United States. It dominated the struggle for gay rights in the 1980s and early 1990s. In 1981, the Center of Disease Control and Prevention published a report about 5 previously healthy homosexual men becoming infected with a rare type of quote-unquote pneumonia. By 1984, researchers had identified the cause of AIDS, the human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, and the Food and Drug Administration licensed the first commercial blood test for HIV in 1985. 2 years later, the first, and I'm not a doctor, you guys, do not make fun of my pronunciation, the first antiretroviral medication for HIV, AZT, which, if you guys know the term is said in the musical Rent constantly, because that is what Rent is about. And you hear like AZT break. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what they're saying when they say AZT break. It was the first medication for HIV that was available for those who already had AIDS. It became available. Gay rights proponents held the second. Nope, that's not right. But that's when that became available, was that term. That was supposed to be the ending of that statement. But yeah, AZT was the first set available medication that those with AIDS could take. Gay rights proponents held the second National March on Washington for lesbian and gay rights in 1987. The occasion marked the first national coverage of ACT UP. It's the AIDS coalition to unleash power, an advocacy group seeking to improve the lives of AIDS victims. The World Health Organization in 1988 declared December 1st to be World AIDS Day. By the end of the decade, there were at least 100,000 reported cases of AIDS in the United States. Now, something that it doesn't really say in this article that I quickly want to bring up is they're really kind of covering very loosely the impact that this had made on the LGBT community. People at the start of this outbreak blamed gay men and those in the community as the ones who were spreading AIDS. It was a very common thing that was being shared. I can't remember exactly. There's a wonderful documentary that I will try to find at some point and try to share. But it was a documentary talking about the fact that we were basically being blamed for spreading AIDS. They were doing testing and looking at the quote-unquote populations, but mostly directing it towards LGBT individuals being a part of this testing. So people were coming to the belief that it was a disease caused by being gay, quote-unquote. So completely distracting from the fact that anyone, and now we know HIV and AIDS can be something that everyone gets.
It's not just a single person, guys.
Nope, it's not just one group of people. Anyone can get AIDS and HIV, so be safe, you guys. Be safe out there. But it really did show up as when you don't have the proper education, which sex ed is important. If you don't have the proper education as well as access to healthcare providing and access to healthcare options, you get impacted with a lot scarier of medical concerns. And that is what we were seeing with the LGBT community, because they didn't have a lot of access to be able to know safe sex care, access to healthcare, access to conversation about safe sex within our community. And so, yeah, we had a lot of outbreaks within our community because of the fact that we did not have the support from our communities and our society to be able to make better and safer decisions for ourselves. And we see it now in communities around the world that don't have access to a lot of the same kinds of healthcare and healthcare providing that we in more profitable areas do. And that leads to a lot of outbreaks that happen, especially for HIV and AIDS, because we don't have access to things. People don't have access to things in other parts of the country and other parts of the world. So it's still a very prevalent fight. But when it first originally started coming up, the LGBT community was being blamed that we were the ones spreading this disease. And that was not true. Screw you, society.
Like we said earlier, guys, we're apparently always the problem, all right?
Yep. We're the problem.
Somehow it always comes back to us.
Yep. But
freaking ridiculous.
Right. But continuing on from that, 1992, Bill Clinton, during his campaign to become president, promised he would lift the ban against gay rights, against gays in the, I'm going to say this properly. This does not sound like a good statement. He would lift the ban against the LGBT community in the military. But after failing to garner enough support for such an open policy, President Clinton opted in 1993 to pass the Don't Ask, Don't Tell DADT policy, which allowed gay men and women to serve in the military as long as they kept their sexuality a secret. Gay rights advocates described the don't ask, don't tell policy as it did little to stop people from being discharged on the grounds of their sexuality. So even if you were super secret about it, people could still share that information, and because it went against the policy, even if someone was trying to blackmail you, that was a way for you to get discharged, because people will then share this information, and the United States military went, oh, sorry, you're out of here. 2011, President Obama fulfilled a campaign promise to repeal DADT. By that time, more than 12,000 officers had been discharged from the military under DADT for refusing to hide their sexuality. Don't Ask, Don't Tell was officially repealed on September 20th, 2011, you guys. 2011. It took basically almost 20 years for Don't Ask, Don't Tell to be repealed, and 12,000 officers, 12,000 members of our military were discharged because of this in some way, shape, or form. So that's sucky. Oh, here we go with gay marriage and gay marriage and partnerships. This is the part that really is getting affected right now because everyone talks about it, and it's something that we are supposed to be done with, but I guess not, and that's fine. Whatever. I'm not bummed about this whatsoever. Okay. 1992, the District of Columbia passed a law that allowed gay and lesbian couples to register as domestic partners. Domestic partners is different than married.
Yeah.
Just put that out there. It's different. Granting them some of the rights of marriage. The city of San Francisco passed a similar ordinance 3 years prior, and California would later extend those rights to be the entire state in 1999. In 1993, the highest court in Hawaii ruled that a ban on gay marriage may go against the state's constitution. State voters disagreed, however, and in 1998 passed a law banning same-sex marriage. Okay. Don't know how allowing other people to marry goes against the state's constitution and their rights, but okay, sure. Listen, if we're not affecting you and it's not hurting you, why? I don't want to marry you, so why is it a problem?
Why does my life have to be your entire business?
Yeah. My marriage does not bother your marriage, so stop trying to hold on to mine. Okay, thanks. Federal lawmakers also disagreed, and Congress passed the Defense of Marriage Act, DOMA, which Clinton signed into law in 1996. The law prevented government from granting federal marriage benefits to same-sex couples and allowed states to refuse to recognize same-sex marriage certificates from other states. Basically, what this means is federal lawmakers sided with what Hawaii was doing and said, absolutely not. We don't want to offer any opportunities for those who get married in the United States to be seen as married. So even if you're in a state that allows it, other states are not going to recognize it if they don't want to. So screw you guys, basically. Though marriage rights backtracked, gay rights advocates scored other victories. In 1994, an anti-hate crime law allowed judges to impose harsher sentences if a crime was motivated by a victim's sexual orientation. We still deal with this battle today. Unfortunately, we still see a lot of people who act on these hate crimes who do not get the sentencing that they deserve because of their acts. Or they claim, we literally just had a hate crime that occurred on a very well-known couple, an actor couple in LA, basically, that he was shot and killed, and they stated that it was a civil dispute that led to a murder.
Yeah, civil dispute my ass.
This was not a civil dispute. Literally, there was constant information and evidence that it was a hate crime, but was claimed to be a dispute that led to a accidental, basically, homicide that wasn't supposed to be a homicide at all. So it's fine. Okay. All right. Sure. Because that makes sense. 2003, gay rights proponents had another bit of happy news. The United States Supreme Court in Lawrence versus Texas struck down the state's anti-sodomy law. Again, this anti-sodomy law has been going on since the early 1960s and even earlier, and it just got removed in 2003. So at least that got better. But the landmark ruling effectively decriminalized homosexual relations nationwide. 2009, President Barack Obama signed into law a new hate crime act, commonly known as the Matthew Shepard Act. If you guys do not know who Matthew Shepard was, this was a very horrific, very, 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 very cruel hate crime that occurred. I believe it was 1998. And well, actually, no, it says right here. New law extended into reach 1994 hate crime law. The act was a response to the 1998 murder of 21-year-old Matthew Shepard, who was, I'm going to try to say this in words and terms that are not triggering to people, was attacked, kidnapped. He had things happen to him for a period of time without his control. He was tied to a fence and was left to pass away. The murder was thought to be driven by Shepard's perceived homosexuality. It's not perceived. There are literal evidence that this was because of his identity as well as his sexuality. And it wasn't because of just him and his sexuality. It was because of the fact that he was a trans individual as well. And that was there's a lot of very well made, beautifully written media sources. There's films about this, his life and about what happened. There's different TV shows that talk about it. Just letting you guys know ahead of time, it is very dark. It is very hard to watch. It is very dark, but it needs to be shared. We're not going to talk about it more in this podcast because we had a very heavy podcast last week, but I highly recommend, if you do not know about the story, look into it, whatever your comfort level is. It was a very, very horrific hate crime that occurred, and it spurred on a lot of this movement to try people for acts of hate. So yeah, definitely recommend it. 2011, President Obama fulfilled a campaign promise to repeal DADT. By that time, more than 12,000 officers had been discharged. So that was going into effect and being changed and repealed. A couple of years later, the Supreme Court ruled against Section 3 of DOMA, which allowed the government to deny federal benefits to married same-sex couples. DOMA soon became powerless when in 2015, Supreme Court ruled that states cannot ban same-sex marriage, making gay marriage legal throughout the country. Let's freaking
it has not been
go.
legal for very long, guys.
No, 2015, and it was the Proposition 8 went into effect 2008, and then 2015 it finally got disbanded. So, and we are still dealing with effects of people not wanting this to this day. But yup. I'm going to take a minute because we had a lot of information there. Brooke, is there anything you want to bring up about all of that before I continue?
I literally just can't believe that it's only been 10 years since
10 years. Yeah. Just 10 years.
10 years, guys.
And I mean, even within the last, guys, we're still not that far away from the 1900s. And the mid-1900s, we barely started getting rights to be able to be seen in public. And that was
just basic rights.
yeah. Like I
like just being able to serve in the military, being able to
Yep.
be married to who we love. Like,
and to put that
come
into perspective too, like for instance, Mom, am I allowed to say your age? Or your average age? Yeah. My mom here is in her 70s. And she's still, this is within her lifetime that she has seen a lot of this stuff occur. Like, people who are still alive to this day were alive when all of the first rights and movements were happening that were recognized in the United States. Like, think about that for a second. It wasn't our great grandparents or our great grandparents, our ancestors. It was literally within our parent and grandparent generations that this was happening. So put that in perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I don't know. It's just crazy to think about, for sure.
It really is. Mom, do you remember any acts that were happening around your time that you noticed LGBT wise? She's thinking. Our first guest, non-official guest, you guys.
Being roped into this when she's like, I didn't know this was happening.
In high school, it wasn't. So I'm going to repeat what she was saying because the mic's not going to cover, I don't think. But she was saying that in high school, it wasn't even talked about. Like, we tried to share and converse in our schools now and educate people about the communities now. It wasn't even discussed. Like, we weren't even thought about in the times that she went to school, in high school. And in college, too. Like, college is a huge time for me when I really started learning more about the LGBT community. But that just puts into perspective, parents and grandparents didn't even have the opportunity to learn about these communities in the times that us as young adults get to. So, like, it's not very long ago, you guys. Not very long ago at all. And yeah, she was unknowingly roped into it, but she's fine. Everything's good. She did it by consent, you guys.
We love supportive parents.
We do. We love the supportive parents. We enjoy the supportive parents. She's over here beaming. She's great, you guys. If you guys don't recognize her, she's been in some of my gaming streams before and she enjoys it. You guys are awesome. So, yeah. Thanks, Mama. But yeah. It's a lot. We kind of covered the original, like, official movements that kind of just as a whole in an umbrella term was just allowing people to be seen, to be respected. And then we talked about a lot when it came to rights of marriage, rights for those to serve in our military, rights to discuss our healthcare and our health systems, being seen and identifying LGBT community not as a quote-unquote mental disorder, which just is crazy to me that was even a thought process. Was like, well, we can't describe this, so we're just gonna put you over here with those who are struggling with mental health, because that sounds like what you're going through.
Like that's where you guys belong.
Yeah, we're gonna put you guys over here. And trust me, myself as well as many members of the community that I know, we do have mental health as a concern that we do work through, but that's beside the point.
It's
beside the point. It's an overall thing. It's not just our community, just saying. Now, the trauma that we have to face in our community, that's something different, but we're going to talk about mental health in a different stream, different episode. Because that will take us
another episode coming soon.
That will take forever to talk about, just as a whole. But yeah, it's a lot to talk about. Where do we have? We're almost done, you guys. We're almost there. We're doing it. We're doing it. It's happening. Just checking really quick. Okay. All right. We're almost to the end, you guys, and then we can talk about the we're only in an hour in. Oh, we're fine. Everything's fine. Okay.
Yeah, an hour for the history, an hour for everything else. It's
perfect. Fine. We got this. We're doing great, you guys. We're on a roll. Okay, so one day after the landmark 2015 ruling, the Boy Scouts of America lifted its ban against openly gay leaders and employees. In 2017, it reversed a century-old ban. Century-old, you guys. Against transgender boys, finally catching up with the Girl Scouts. Let's go, Girl Scouts. Which caught up with the Girl Scouts of the U.S., which had long been inclusive of the LGBTQ leaders and children in the organization, had accepted its first transgender Girl Scout in 2011. Good job, Girl Scouts.
So again, not that long ago, guys, but you know what? Progress.
But listen, Girl Scouts are better than Boy Scouts, and they did better at it. So I'm just going to put that out there. Let's go, Girl Scouts.
I was a Girl Scout for a little bit.
You were a Girl Scout?
I was. Like in elementary school, I was a Girl Scout.
Oh, wait, so that means you got
I was just a baby.
You finished Brownies and you went into, what was the one after Brownies, Mom? Was Brownies? Yeah, I know it was Girl Scouts.
Daisy, maybe?
Was it date? No, there was Daisy's, Brownies. What was the other one? Well, but we had like the different levels. We had I only remember in colors, you guys. That's what I'm remembering. It was blue, then it was brown, and then it was green. And then when you went into middle school and high school, then it was like a tan color.
Brownies, juniors, cadets, seniors, ambassadors.
There we go.
So I think I have like two of my best still. I think I still have like my brownies and my junior, because I think the junior was like that greenish.
Yep. Aw, you got in your little green badges. Look at you go. I had
a little baby.
I
never made it through like cadets and seniors and stuff. Like I quit like wait.
Funny enough, I got my silver badge in seniors before ambassadors. So I got into seniors and was working towards my gold before things got too busy and I was working with horses full time and ended up leaving at that point. But no, I went all the way in seniors, was working towards getting into ambassadors, and had my finished Girl Scouts with my silver badge before I left.
I love that for you.
So thanks.
Look at us, guys.
Oh my god, Liz, hi. It's a dark romance.
Learning something new every day. Anyway.
Yeah, right. I was a little.
Back to it.
I still remember my Girl Scout pledge too.
But listen, we ain't gonna get into that. We're not gonna get into the dances.
On my honor, I will try.
Nope. I don't want to bring back the memories, Sarah. Don't do that to me.
Oh, sorry. It's a triggering subject. We're gonna move on now. Oh
goodness. All right.
But okay, moving forward. So Girl Scouts was cool. 2016, the U.S. military lifted its ban on transgender people serving openly, a month after Eric Fanning became Secretary of the Army and the first openly gay Secretary of the U.S. military branch. Let's go. In March 2018, oh God, President Donald Trump announced a new transgender policy for the military that again banned most transgender people from military service. In January 2021, his sixth day in office, President Biden signed an executive order overturning this ban. We're fine.
Good job, Biden.
Good job, Biden. I can't. And we're back to this again. We're literally.
It's a repeat.
We repeated this again. We're gonna talk about it.
The same fucking person. Y'all, we're gonna get heated. Just you wait.
Oh my god, I can't even. Through LGBTQ Americans now having same-sex marriage rights and numerous other rights that seemed far-fetched 100 years ago, the work of advocates is far from over. Universal workplace anti-discrimination laws for LGBTQ Americans is still lacking. Gay rights proponents must also contend with an increasing number of quote-unquote religious liberty state laws, which allow business to deny service to LGBTQ individuals due to religious beliefs, such as bathroom laws that prevent transgender individuals from using public bathrooms that don't correspond to their sex at birth. Additionally, several states have passed legislation targeting transgender youth. In Texas, their parents, preventing them from competing in school-sponsored athletics, from corresponding with their gender identity, and accessing gender-affirming medical care. So if you guys don't know what this means, targeting transgender youth with their parents, when they're youth, the parents get cited with these quote-unquote laws and crimes. So it wasn't even targeting just the members of the community. They were going after their families, basically saying, how dare you offer these support systems and availabilities for your kids because they don't fall within these ideals. So that was a thing happening in Texas. Fucking Texas. Anyways.
Don't even get me started on Texas. Texas is a whole, that right there is a whole fucking episode itself.
And it's not even within the LGBT community too that pisses me off. They're doing so many things. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's bad.
Gay marriage legalized. Massachusetts was the first state to legalize. Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know this. Massachusetts was the first state to legalize gay marriage, and the first legal same-sex marriage was performed in May 17th, 2004, a day when 77 other couples across the state also tied the knot. So Massachusetts, okay.
Love that. We see you. We love you.
We see you. Good job, Massachusetts. Edith Windsor and Thea Spire wed in Ontario, Canada in 2007. The state of New York recognized the residents' marriage, but the federal government did not. When Spire died in 2009, she left her estate to Windsor since the couple's marriage was not federally recognized. Windsor didn't qualify for tax exemption as a surviving spouse. Windsor sued the government in late 2010 in United States versus Windsor. Months later, U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder announced that the Barack Obama administration would no longer defend DOMA. In 2012, the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that DOMA violates the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause, and the U.S. Supreme Court agreed to hear arguments for the case. The court ruled in favor of Windsor. Can you imagine that? You are with a partner, you're married, you are recognized as married, and when your partner dies, the government's like, nah,
that never happened.
Sorry that your, I guess, partner, because we know that's how they treated it. It's like, sorry your, I guess, partner passed away, but like, you weren't actually married, so. I would throw a hissy fit. I would lose it. I'm sorry. Along with the fact you lose your partner, you are having to fight the government for the right to be seen as someone who is married. Okay, sure. That's fine. Gay marriage was finally ruled legal by the Supreme Court in June 2015. The Obergefell versus Hodges, the plaintiffs led by Jim Obergefell, who sued because he was unable to put his name on his late husband's death certificate, argued that the laws violated the Equal Protection Clause and Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. Conservative Justice Anthony Kennedy sided with Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan in favor of the same-sex marriage rights, ultimately making gay marriage legal across the nation on June 2015. The ruling read in part, "No union is more profound than marriage, for it embodies the highest ideals of love, fidelity, devotion, sacrifice, and family. In forming a marital union, two people become something greater than once they were. As some of the petitioners in these cases demonstrate, marriage embodies a love that may endure even past death. It would misunderstand these men and women who say they disrespect the ideas of marriage. Their plea is that they do respect it so deeply that they seek to find its fulfillment for themselves. Their hope is not to be condemned to live in loneliness, excluded from one of civilization's oldest institutions. They ask for equal dignity in the eyes of the law. The Constitution grants them that right. On December 13th, 2022, President Joe Biden signed the Respect of Marriage Act into law. The law requires that individual states recognize same-sex and interracial marriages that were lawfully performed in other states. 2022, you guys. We finally had a blanket over any arguments against marriage, against same-sex, as well as interracial marriages to be recognized in all other states. In 2022, we're not that far away. So,
yeah, guys, that's 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So
we finally got an official of leave this alone, basically. It was a blanket over the entire argument being like, and we should be done, right? We should be over with this. This is now completed, right? But now, Brooke can tell you this is not the case. So, oh my god. But yeah, you guys, we made it through. That was the article.
Listen, like, I'm not someone who feels the need to, like, get married, but it's the fact that sometimes I feel like maybe I just need to fucking do it out of spite at this point, because
do it out of spite is crazy. Let's just do it, just in case.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's freaking ridiculous.
I just think, especially too, because finances and financial support and being able to share in the rights and the legal rights that a marriage couple should be able to have, the fact that it's not an option for people because of who they marry. Like, that's how ridiculous it is the fact that we can't have the same rights in a marriage that someone else who probably looks very similar to us, or even if they don't, the fact is that we still are trying to have to be seen and to be respected as having the same type of beautiful connection with another person that other people do. And it's basically taken us almost over 100 years to finally be like, okay, yeah, sure, I guess you guys can get married. Like, it's taken so freaking long, and we're still fighting over about this.
Like we said in our last episode, guys, it's literally like one step forward and like 1,000 back. Like, It is a never-ending circle of struggle.
Yep.
It's bad.
Yeah, I just, we're working towards it, and we'll talk about ways that we'll continue fighting towards progression within our community, but just know this is not over. Once the law gets put into place, as we can see by multiple presidents within the last 20 years, it can easily be taken away again. Easily. It's switched back and forth. It's not a cemented thing. Nothing in politics is cement. Nothing is set in stone. It literally can be erased within a day's decision if people wanted to do so. It
takes a couple of votes and a little signature, and we're right back to where we were.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and that's, like we said, it's not even including all of the laws within individual states. Like, individual states have laws that not other states respect or believe in. And so what happens in California is not how things happen in Alabama. It's not how things happen in New York. It's not how things happen in Texas. Like, it also comes down to how you are seen and respected in certain states, which is why there's always that conversation of what state is safe for someone to be in, because of the fact that it isn't just the communities that are there, but also the laws that are in place. Which state is going to offer more comfort, not to mention whatever is going on in our Supreme Court and the entire nation, But what state is finally actually going to be able to see you and respect you and your rights? That's why so many people, especially within the community, have to make the choice and have the conversation of what state am I going to be the safest in, when it's a society that constantly is changing those decisions per state, along with inside of the entire legal system within our United States Supreme Court. So it's a lot, you guys. But that's the history side of things. We now have Brooke has done researchies. She has gone through and pulled up some things about what
basically Brooke over here is just frustrated, guys.
Brooke is frustrated. Brooke is going to tell you a piece of her mind about what's going on recently. So let's get into it, shall we? Feel free to rage with us.
Okay. Let's just start off with the lovely little thing about the president, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys. So, during Pride Month, of course, Trump has decided to end funding for the LGBTQ youth option on the National Suicide Hotline.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yep. Uh-huh.
So, I'll be honest with you guys. I have used this hotline before. Amazing hotline. The Trevor Project runs the LGBTQ plus option on that hotline. And yeah, it's not a good thing, guys. The administration has decided to remove the bipartisan evidence-based service that has effectively supported high-risk groups of young people in their darkest moments. All right. I don't know if y'all are aware, but LGBTQ plus youth are some of the highest rates of suicide and just the struggle, guys. The struggle.
Yep. I'm going to look into it really quickly. LGBTQ rates. I think they were saying that
it's up there, and it's not
like 2/3.
I don't know the actual percentage, but it is up there.
No, keep going. I'm gonna continue looking for the amount.
Yeah, I saw it once, but I can't remember what it was. But anyway, guys, a legislation had passed in 2020 that required the suicide hotline to provide services and staff specifically for LGBTQ plus people, as well as other at-risk groups like rural and Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
They noted that LGBTQ plus youth were more than 4 times more likely to contemplate suicide than their peers, with 1 in 5 LGBTQ plus youth and more than 1 in 3 transgender youth reporting attempting suicide.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's not a good thing, guys. The Trevor Project began providing its services through the Lifeline in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
In 2024, it served more than 231,000 crisis contacts. If that says anything about the number of people that are calling in and needing help,
it's high.
It's super high. But our lovely president, not just the suicide hotline he's after. He's ordered the removal of transgender service members.
Yep.
From the military,
which we just talked about as being a historical turning point of the allowing of those in the military that are part of the communities to be able to serve our country. And it was set that it was okay for trans trans individuals to be able to serve our country. That was set 10-15 years ago, and now we're back dealing with the same fight that we dealt with.
This is what I mean, like
before.
When I said it's literally a full circle of struggle, like we're constantly doing the runaround.
Yep.
It gets approved, it gets denied. It gets approved, it gets denied. It's a constant back and forth fight. The U.S. Department of State also announced that it would no longer allow applicants to choose X as their gender on U.S. passports. Instead, transgender individuals must choose male or female corresponding to their sex assigned at birth.
Yep.
So we got a lot of stuff going on here during Pride Month of all months, guys. It seems to be the one month where, I don't know if you've noticed the pattern, but as soon as Pride Month hits, then they start going after things that have previously been approved.
We have been fighting over to work on beforehand.
Exactly.
Especially, and it is, a lot of it is targeting to femme or female represented individuals of our community, and just in total, in general, feminine and female individuals in our society, period, are fighting for their rights. But not to mention, within the LGBTQ community, the fact that we're fighting for these rights as well as fighting as femme and female individuals. And so it adds even another layer of risk, as well as concern, as well as difficulty when it comes to, like you were just talking to about your passport and your IDs have to coexist and correlate with your birth certificate. Yeah. That also includes women who've been married and had their last names changed. And a lot of it is towards
it's the whole
femme and female individuals, that if it doesn't coincide with your certificate, you can't get certain documents to be able to literally survive in this country. And it's just made it harder. It's made it so much harder to be able to
They are making
exist.
things. They're basically making it harder for us to want to live at this point.
Yep.
Like that's where we're at.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
even if you go, like, I believe on the 988 Lifeline website, it literally says that LGBTQ communities are disproportionately at risk for suicide and other mental health struggles due to historic and ongoing structural violence.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers are gonna keep climbing at this point.
And then we see issues occur when it comes to holding people accountable for actions of hate and violence towards our communities. I mean, just with the hate crime that we just saw that was all over the news of a attack on members of our community and a murder that happened, and them claiming it to be a civil dispute that ended tragically. It wasn't a fucking civil dispute. And people wonder why members of this community have such a hard time feeling safe and comfortable living in our community and in our societies. It's because people pull shit like this and are not held accountable. And so we have to then try to survive that.
Right. And the thing is, guys, is I was just talking about the suicide hotline, but there's more going on. It's not just here in the States.
Nope. It's internationally.
Exactly. For instance, in frickin' Hungary, the police there have banned LGBT Hungarians and their supporters from peacefully assembling to celebrate Pride, while instead allowing a hate group to march on the exact same day.
Yep.
So people had gotten together and were planning to do a march at Budapest Pride on June 28th. It was banned by the police 3 times, guys. 3 times. The organizers challenged the ban at the Supreme Court, but despite twice ruling in their favor and ordering police to re-examine the request, the court ultimately upheld the ban. So like it's not the police